So I've never really had a hard time with organization. In general, I like to think that I usually keep my stuff pretty organized. But over the past few months, having been home from college, in quarantine, stuff has started to accumulate. My bookshelves were unorganized, my closet was kind of a mess, even my desk was just covered in stuff. The problem is my room isn't very big. My bed takes up a large portion of the room, and I have a lot of furniture that tends to take up a lot of space. What this means is that in addition to my room just feeling a little cramped in general, having a lot of stuff lying around my room can make it look really small and really disorganized. But a few weeks ago, I made a plan to completely reorganize my room and declutter my space. So this time when I was organizing my room, I took it upon myself to figure out the most optimal way to not only organize my stuff, but minimize the amount of stuff I have lying around. So this is what it looks like. So if you look at my desk, there's honestly not a whole lot on it, aside from a fake plant from IKEA, my lamp, and my essential oil diffuser. And that's by design. I also have my keyboard and my 2 monitors, but I tried to keep my desk as clean and decluttered as possible. The reason for this is that my desk is usually the first thing to fill up with stuff. The easiest thing for me to do is walk in the door and just throw my wallet, my phone, and all of the stuff in my pocket on my desk. In addition, when I'm using a notebook or I'm using something else, my first instinct is to just leave it on the corner of my desk. Over time, this just leads to a lot more clutter and a lot more stuff on my desk, and that makes it more difficult to get rid of. In fact, my solution came from an organizer's paradise, IKEA. After watching a video on YouTube by David Zhang talking about his IKEA SKADIS Wall Organizer, I knew I needed something like this to prevent my room from getting cluttered. So right next to my desk, I have my IKEA SKADIS Wall Organizer with some of its accessories. All of the stuff I would usually have on my desk now goes on here. My headphones, my pens, my notebooks, basically anything that I would normally just put on my desk. The nice thing about this wall organizer is that I have to be really intentional about where I put my stuff. Since everything is hanging vertically, there's no surface that I can just put my stuff on. Everything has to have its own space. If you look at that corner of my room, there's basically nothing else. Although I have some cables lying in the back, I think that's kind of unavoidable for now. The next area of the room I tackled is my bookshelf. The bookshelf became the perfect area to just throw everything in. Not to mention, the first 2 shelves were just filled with books that I had pretty much already read. All of the other shelves were just filled with miscellaneous items that I would throw in there when I didn't have space anywhere else for them. Now, when reorganizing this bookshelf, I was very focused on organization. I bought plenty of containers from IKEA just to make sure that every item I had its own designated holder. If the item didn't have any sort of place for storage, it was meant to be left out in the open and easily accessible. I also made sure not to stack any of my storage units. The reason for this is that when you start stacking things, it becomes more difficult to keep track of all of the stuff you have. The only time I would stack anything is if I had an empty container that wasn't filled with anything. This way, if I'm looking for an item, I know exactly which container it's in, and I don't have to lift anything off of that container to get at it. The main purpose of my bookshelf is accessibility and clean storage. For all of my old notebooks, I just put them in a container, and for all of my power banks, I just put them in their own small storage box. I also made sure to keep a storage bin for miscellaneous items. This way, if I'm not entirely sure where something should go, I put it in the box so that it doesn't take up space lying around in my bookshelf. This keeps everything clean and organized. The next part of my room I tackled was my closet. In the past, I never really utilized my closet space. My closet was always a place to store rarely used items in kind of a haphazard way. Not to mention, I had a ton of old clothes that weren't even mine that I never really wore. Here's what I did to reorganize it. First, I took out all of the clothes that were either too old, I'd never worn them, or they weren't mine. Then we decided whether to throw them out, give them away, or do something else with them. Afterwards, I pushed off all of my clothes to the less accessible half of my closet. This is because a lot of the clothes that are in my closet are usually hoodies or things that I don't wear all the time. If I ever need them, I can go through the extra bit of effort to just open the other side and get them. This allowed me to prioritize the most accessible part of my closet. I also put in another IKEA SKADIS pegboard organizer in the middle of my closet. This is so that I could store stuff without adding to the overall cluttered look of my room. When I close the closet door, my room looks much less cluttered and much more simplistic. But I still have the storage necessary in case I need to get something from my closet. Underneath the pegboard, I have a small wired shelf that I use to hold the clothespin and hold another organizer that I use to just keep my stuff. This is another way I make sure each item has its own designated space. Underneath the wire shelf, I have some boxes, which is where I have some of my more deep storage. These are items that I don't need to access frequently, so I put them in these boxes. But each box also serves its own purpose. The smaller boxes hold small items or small groups of items that I could use all at once. This way, if I ever need a group of items for a specific task, I can take out the whole box and use whatever I need in that box. The larger boxes are used for larger items and things that I rarely ever need. Since I'm continually in the process of figuring out what I need and don't need, I can use these boxes as transition boxes to store things until I figure out a better place for them. I also have some hooks in my closet that I use for hanging bags and hanging other items that I use somewhat frequently. This is to prevent these bags from taking up space on the floor of my room. Also in the closet, for the small empty space between both halves, that's where I store my tripods and some other larger miscellaneous items. Now, the bedside drawer next to my bed is where a ton of stuff used to just sit. So my solution, take out everything. Now, my drawers don't really have anything in them except the occasional snack. I actually like it a little bit better this way, especially when you have a lot of stuff in them. Things can accumulate in the back and tend to become less organized. This is a system that works for me, and maybe if I accumulate more stuff, I'll find a use for my drawers. But for right now, I just use it as a simple bedside table. So that's basically how I organize my room. Just so you know, I'll leave all of the things I mentioned and used to organize my room in the description of this video. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like and share it with your friends so maybe they can benefit from it too. Also, if you like this video, maybe you'll like some of my others, so feel free to check out my channel and subscribe. You don't have to, but I'd definitely appreciate it. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.